latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm going to give you guys a bit of a review video on a brand new driveway awning from Coleman. So with me here today I've got the Coleman Journeymaster Deluxe Air awning. So Journeymaster is basically kind of a new range of driveway awnings in Coleman's collection, and there's two different types of models. So we've got the poled version and in the air version. So throughout this kind of video what we're going to do is always give you a compare and contrast between the two. And they've actually also got 3 different sizes, so you can really pick and choose your size, your kind of system, whether it be poled or air, and so you've got a really nice kind of sort of interchangeable range that Coleman have introduced for their first kind of driveway awning collection ever. So what we've got really here is a kind of like a tent with obviously an attachment to onto the van itself. Now, it's really not quite nice and simple. It faces the same way as the van does, so what the joys of it is means you're facing kind of, i.e. the view, not your sort of neighbour, which you do find with awnings, certain driveways in particular. Now, differences for obviously, apart from the poled and air scenario, is that the air has a slightly higher spec than the poled itself. So the air runs with 150 denier material, still at 6,000mm high straight head, whereas the poled, being a more price-orientated thing, is actually about a 70 denier material, but still also 6,000mm high straight head. So they both have a very, very high waterproof rating, but you pretty much choose between the premium air with a much thicker fabric, or a standard poled with still a very high waterproof level, but a more basic kind of fabric in that sense. Features that pretty much are in many ways unique to Coleman to a certain degree is the fact there is a blackout bedroom. So they're the only company on the market to do blackout bedrooms, and regardless of whether you go for the M, L or XL size, you get a bedroom included. It's worth saying that the M and the L size is a 2-berth bedroom standard, whereas you go for the XL, you've got a really nice big 4-berth. To give you an idea, with me here I've got the L size itself. Now, the M and the L size, the 2 lower sizes, are the same width out from the actual van itself. It's just the long length of the actual van awning, I should say, differs. So we're here, I should say, we've got sort of a canopy and then 3 internal sections. With the M, it's just 2 internal sections, and the bedroom section, which is this grey part here, moves up here. So you really only just got just the window as such. With the XL, what you find is that goes from, rather than being 240 depth for the main awning itself, it goes to 3 meters. So it gets wider, but also gets longer as well. So you actually have an extra section in place. So you get a very similar kind of main kind of living area, but still with a double kind of sleeping compartment to sleep 4 people at the back. So arguably I'd say actually it's probably the biggest awning pretty much on the market. So the thing I probably do like about the whole collection is that it's probably more defined in having a bit of more of an internal living area space rather than purely using it for sleeping. And I'll make a bit more sense as we come in towards the later part of the video. So with the air, we've got obviously inflatable tubes. Each beam's done up individually, and we've done our own Attwoolls pitching and packing video you can check out on our website or in the link below to show you how quick, simple and easy it really is. Took myself no longer than 12 minutes to do the whole thing. Admittedly, if you're probably looking at a poled model, it might be an extra half on top of that, so 16 to 20 minutes possibly. I mean, it's myself knowing exactly what I'm doing all the way through. Now, the first 3 beams are basically inflated either around the front of the canopy, or you have to have the door open to go either side. The back 2 have their own little kind of cap flap. Now, it's a little bit dated if I'm being honest with you. You know, it still gives you access to it. It doesn't look as clean, as nice as you would imagine, but you can still access the valves, and you've got a really nice kind of big dinghy style valve with a manual pump supplied as standard. The colour scheme of the tent actually I do quite like. I think it's very neutral. It's almost like kind of like a grey kind of whitey, but with a mocha kind of trim. I think it looks actually quite smart, and the more and more I kind of spend time with it, I do kind of like it even more to a certain extent. We've got a lovely crystal clear window on the side located here, and the same for all the way through, and a low level ventilation point to help circulate air to help fight condensation. We've got a side door built onto the L and also the XL, so if you want to, you can actually enter the main part of the awning. You've also got a window located in that as well, so you want to vision out, you can do that, but there's also a curtain nice and neatly there. Failing out behind the said door, you've also got a nice big mesh panel. So you've got a mesh door on this side, So again, to help increase airflow and give that sort of bug-free barrier, that works really nicely. And that kind of twins itself up with the front kind of mesh door under the canopy. So you've got one located directly here. So this one's probably, if the weather's going to chop and turn, you've got a little bit of shelter away from the wind and the rain. You can have that open all the time and not have to worry about sort of, well, water coming inside. And mainly for the side, any water that comes down off the roof is going to come directly inside. So we'd zip that up during the times where, you know, it's starting to rain to that point. You've got webbing storm straps located front and also back to help great torsion into the roof and give you a bit more stability. And your guy lines obviously around it to give it that extra bit of support. They've also got a little flint in there as well that I think works really quite nicely. But I'll tell you what, let's kind of bring the camera around and kind of have a bit more of a feel for the inside of the Journeymaster. So now we're towards the front. The first thing you probably see is the tunnel section we've got here. Now, there is actually only one tunnel door on the front side of things, so this will allow you to enter to the van without having to go through the awning every single time. So you can easily open that, roll that back and get in and out of there. You haven't got one on the back, but I suppose if you want to get to the boot, you have to go out and all the way around, which is certainly a slight disadvantage. A lot of other brands do have two doors, but I think for the main point of getting into the van, it works well. Canopy depth is around about 1 metre for all three models. So it's enough space to kind of give you a little bit of shelter away from the wind and rain. You probably put a couple of chairs in here in the night to sort of sit out and an extra windbreak or whatever, but I think it gives you just enough space without being necessarily too much. The door into kind of the main living area, we've got a mesh door built into it and then a normal solid door. The mesh door basically zips up vertically, as we see here. What you find is actually there's a lip located down here, so it zips along the bottom to give you that ultimate amount of kind of sealedness, certainly against the bugs and that sort of thing. It gives you the flexibility. What you can do is always have a lip up, lip down, so you then suddenly have trip-free access into the main part of the tent. And again, the door itself will just simply roll directly up, and it's up out of the way. So again, you can see you can get push chairs, pram chairs, that sort of stuff really nicely and easily into the tent, or even wheelchairs for that matter. Two small windows are located in the front. We've also had zip-up curtains. It's worth mentioning the curtain that was on the actual door section on the side there, it was toggle up. But again, nice big window here, and this one has zip-up curtains, and it sort of mirrors kind of in terms of the features and also to the specifications, very similar to their tent range, which is the Weathermasters. So it's all about being quite premium. It's quite nice actually in terms of the design, certainly of the Owl model. I think because it's that sort of 240 width, it's still a very big kind of living area space, even though it doesn't come out from the van the full width. And at the back we've got a 2-berth bedroom, which is very much side on. So you're not compromising by having the bedroom sort of maybe halfway in the section here. It gives you a lot more internal space than actually you would think, and it's quite quirky in that way. Admittedly, in terms of overall height, I'd say it's a bit lower than, say, maybe other models on the market, but it's quite, I wouldn't say the word cute, but it's quirky in its own manner itself. Hanger points for lanterns are located throughout the actual awning, located on top, and literally every single beam actually has them, so you can quite happily accommodate that. When we come to walk towards the back bedroom section, there's also Velcro tabs leading down to the cable entry point, so you can run that cable onto the as you see fit, hang it on the main point for the lantern itself, and allow it to illuminate the actual main awning as well. So we've got a cable entry point not only down the bottom here, but also towards the van, and finally there's also an additional one into the bedroom compartment as well, which I think is really quite nice. One thing I said it defines our sort of Coleman to a certain extent is their blackout bedrooms. So having a really nice dark bedroom, when you zip yourself in, it can be pure daylight and you wouldn't see a thing inside of it. So you've got a ventilation panel built into that to help to increase airflow, because you do find probably the airflow is not as good with the blackout. But you've also got the divider if you wanted to get that completely dark kind of thing, and that is really dark. In the bedroom here as well, you've got a little cable entry point nice and neatly into the actual bedroom. And again, with the little storage pocket located just down the bottom here. And actually there's one on each end, and even storage pockets on the front of the inner tent, so it makes it really quite nice and simple. At the back of the bedroom here, we've got access vents, and this will allow us to open and close the ventilation right at the back of the awning itself. In fact, let's kind of bring the camera in a little bit to just get a bit of a better feel. So, as we can see, you've got this almost double bayed kind of living area, and then the sleeping section, which sort of is side on, and then this is the ventilation point at the back, which I was talking about. So you've got these clear kind of extra vents to get to, and you can access the back ventilation point. I'm not sure you can only see that, but it's just located there. So you can open and close the vent from the inside, which again is quite a nice little unique feature. A hanging point for a lantern, if you can see through the darkness, works well, and you've got little storage pockets and cable entry points on both sides, quite nice and neatly. When we come towards the tunnel section, we've got a sort of preset door, so we've got a fixed panel, and then also the door which rolls up vertically again. There's a bit of a D door, and one thing to note is that you've got safety kind of zips, so it stops in the middle, means kids can always access it quite happily. And then with the van, a really nice sort of wide tunnel section, about 270 in terms of tunnel, comes at a metre, perfect sort of area here for storage, and there's also a vent directly back into the awning itself. And as you can see here, the tunnel opens up fully, so you can open the van up quite nice and neatly, and then you've got also adjustments located directly on top to make sure it looks really smart. And we've got the tunnel door located nice and neatly there, so that works really quite nicely as well. There's also some elasticated, looks like elasticated cord in the side there. As we kind of come back at, you can pretty much see that great sort of vision around kind of the campsite. And also, I think for me, the L size I would say is probably slightly going to be the most popular, just because it's big without being too big. Whereas I feel the XL itself is, well, it's like I said, one of the biggest awnings pretty much on the marketplace. In fact, let's have a little kind of wander around it, get a bit more of a look. In fact, let's go to the connection tunnels up here. So from a connector, you can go obviously directly into a rail if you want to, or use a fixing kit. You've got webbing straps, so you can throw straps over the top of the van if you really wanted to as well. There's a sleeve for a pole and clamp kit, and there's also Velcro tabs just at the top there, so you can actually quite neatly put onto some roof rails. But the roof section looks really nice and taut. It sits really well, and I'm generally quite surprised on how well it kind of sits and looks and works. This is to a certain, well, to be fair, it's the first time I'm really seeing the product in the flesh. But I think on the side profile point of view, so if we're looking at, say, the M version, this middle section would be gone and brings that across, whereas we look at the XL, we'd then add an extra section on the back of it to increase it a bit further. And it pretty much goes a bit further beyond the back of the van. And we can see that rear ventilation point located here as well, so help with airflow, which I would highly recommend when you've got anyone sleeping inside of it. But like I say, you can close it from the outside, but it sits really nicely. And I think just again, just the material and the colour scheme, I think looks really quite premium. I certainly, from actually the feel of the actual material itself, I'm quite surprised on how strong the handle is with that 150 denier fabric. Again, if you're still going for the poled version and still have kind of the likes of the 70 5D, I think it's more than ample enough, certainly if you're looking for a poled, but I think it offers something a little bit different. And there's not that many kind of big kind of poled awnings on the market, so again I think it's quite a nice different point of difference in there. For more information, of course, or any sort of features you wish to see about this, you're welcome to check the link below this video. It'll take you straight through to our website. We've got more information on things like pack sizes, pack weights, floor dimensions, more importantly, and obviously the range of sizes that you can get with the Journeymasters itself. It's probably not one we're going to have on display. Stock, if I'm being honest, is going to be very limited. There's not many of these coming into the UK at all. So it's one of those things, if you have any interest, it's worth kind of acting on it sooner rather than later and securing yourself one, because it's going to be a high in-demand product and not a lot availability. So lots of to-talker points, lots going on here as well. Different colour schemes, something a bit nice and different, which I could quite like. I'm honest, it surprised me how much I do kind of like the concept of it, what it has to offer, the different points it has built into it, the layout side with the living area and sleeping. Yeah, it's got a lot of plus points, so it's encouraging. Like I said, more questions, queries, feel let us know. We have got, we haven't done a video on the polled version because that's not due out till late 22. But overall, in terms of the air concept, really quite nice. And again, lots of sizes and choices to go from there. Any more questions, by all means, let us know. But that's kind of our little video review on the brand new Coleman Journeymaster Deluxe Air models, whether it be the M, the L, or the XL. So thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.